without the microphone, but if anybody has trouble hearing me, I am happy to go get the microphone and use it, because nothing's worse than not being able to be heard. I am Julie Whithelm. Many of you knew and loved Julie Cordion for years. She decided to retire last year. She was affectionately known as Julie K. I was hired to replace her. I am sometimes called NJ for New Julie, Julie 2.0, or Replacement Julie, but I answer to all. We tried to make the transition as easy as we could. We changed one initial in my email address, but my phone extension is the same. I sit at the same desk, so we've tried to make this as seamless as possible, and I'm doing everything I can to try to provide the same level of service that you all knew and expected from Sunbolt and from Julie. The only new benefit that we have this year, everything else has remained the same, so my part is going to be pretty quick when we come back to me. We have Brian Dorley here. He is here from Patient, which is a new benefit that the school consortium has decided to offer you all. It's a really neat payroll-related benefit. I'm going to turn it over to them to give you all the information on that. There was a handout that was in the front that we ran out of on that, but Brian will go over the information because most of it will be available online. So I'm going to turn it over to you, and then we'll come back to me.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Julie. Good morning, or I guess good afternoon now, everyone. My name is Brian Dorley. I'm the founder of a company called Patient. We're based in Columbia, Missouri. It's P-A-Y-T-I-E-N-T, so it's a little play on the word there, Patient. So what Patient is it's an app to pay any medical, dental, vision, pharmacy, or vet bill. So on July 1st, every person in this room will have access to $1,000 on a prepaid Visa card. You can access that card via an app. So if you download Patient, P-A-Y-T-I-E-N-T, from either Google or Android, Google or Apple, download it to your phone, sign on. So anytime you have an out-of-pocket medical, dental, vision, pharmacy, or vet bill, you just tap the app. We create a real-life virtual Visa card. Show that card to the doctor's office. The doctor's office is paid today in full by us, Patient. And then you decide how many paychecks would you like to break that transaction up into. So, example, I go in for a checkup at the dentist, myself, wife, and son. Gosh, it's $320. Just for instance, I could say, $320. I could instead pull out my Patient app, or later this summer, we'll actually, we have your address, mail you a card. Tap the app, show the dentist your phone. They get paid today. They just type in the Visa card, so it's accepted everywhere. Within $320, you're like, ooh, that's a lot. Gosh, I'm going to change that into, say, $40 out of my next 8 checks. So we just communicate that to your payroll department or the payroll software company, and we receive that over time. There's no cost to you. There's no interest to you, no fees to you. This is already paid for by MMPBG for all the employees in this room. So people say, well, gosh, how do you make money there? So hospitals, dentists, endodontists, veterinary practices pay us to list themselves in our app. They're eager for your business there. And so there's economics on that. But if you think there's a world in which you could potentially use up to $1,000 at any point over the next year, then fill out that form and say, yes, please, include me. If you say, no, there's no way in the world I need $1,000 at all for any medical, dental, vision, or vet expense over the next year, then fill that out as declined and move forward. So you can download Patient from the App Store, Google or Apple, and just sign on. So what we're asking for is, hey gosh, we just need to know first name, last name, and whatever email address you prefer to use. If you can include your cell phone, that'd be great. That's how you sign on. So like a lot of apps, you download it, type in your cell phone number, we text you a code, make sure you are who you are, and then you're off and running. So this doesn't replace your HSA. If you have an HSA, this is a way to sort of help build up that balance over time. An HSA is a triple tax advantage savings vehicle. It's a health savings account, not health spending account. So You can use our $1,000 to pay any out-of-pocket expenses, let that HSA accumulate, build up in time. Gosh, if you're on sort of the very generous, loaded up plan that the district has made available, and you wanted to switch over, this is available for both plans. Do I have to use all $1,000 all at once? No, absolutely not. It's available to you. And you want to use 100, 200, it's up to you. You just have to pay that with what you use over time. Yes, ma'am. The question is are the payments pre-tax? After tax, you can reimburse yourself if you already had a rate to say so. You could do that. But like I said, patient, we kind of view that as a potential HSA accumulation tool. So there was a recent study out within the last week that was 320,000 women nationally, 10-year medical study, and it showed that people across all parts of the country in high deductible plans tend to delay access to care. And so I'm a former hospital administrator. I spent 12 years at the hospital center. And we allowed our 2,000 employees to payroll deduct. So if you had an ER bill, you could just walk that in and cashier. Hey, Betty, it's $800. Can I do $3 on my next 20 checks? Our answer was always yes. The employee's asking, that's something that we can provide. We had the unique scenario where we're both the employer, the healthcare facility, and they're our employee. So in time, the hospital, we knew that we could get paid in time. The employee was a great benefit for them, had unique financial flexibility there. They could keep money sort of in their pocket, off their credit card, not taking their 403B or 401K. And that was just a unique thing that I think a lot more employees use. I created Patient as a way to kind of take that same thing that was working inside the hospital and sort of expand that out. So we're very thankful to MMEBG for providing this to their districts, their member schools. And we're here in Columbia. Our email address is hello@patient.co. You can download the app at any time, but I'll stick around and answer any questions. And thank you.
All right. Now we'll move back over to this handout that's in your folder. Mine isn't printed in black and white, but your handout has a red apple on it. We'll go to that one. It's on the right-hand side. Here in the folder. Right-hand side. Okay. So this is the brief synopsis of what your benefits are, and they are no different than they were last year. So you are part of the MMEBG consortium. So if you hear that acronym, Mid-Missouri Educational Benefits Group, that is the group that your school belongs to. It's a group of 12 schools in the Mid-Missouri area. And you are serviced by Sunville Financial in Columbia. You'll see my contact information here, email, phone, and then you'll also see Jamie Cunningham's information. She is our dedicated claims specialist. She is the one whom you will want to direct any questions to about claims processing, pre-certifications, anything. If you feel like the claim did not process the way you thought it should and you need assistance in getting that worked out with the providers, Jamie is our go-to gal on that. She and I answer all questions. We're cross-trained on everything. Her area of expertise are the claims benefits, and mine is on the benefits administration. But we are both happy and willing to help you with any questions. The other name that you see in there is Tom Kaiser. He's the broker that has the relationship with Anthem, and he's the one that gets the credit for being able to negotiate the 0% increase this year. So he really went to bat for MMEBG so that rates would not have to go up, since we know everything's expensive, and we were happy to be able to provide that service. So just a few pieces of information on these first two pages in the fine print. The first is your deductible. Your deductible with MMEBG in South Callaway runs from July 1st to June 30th every year. That is correct. That is different than the rest of the organized world that runs from January to December. So if you ever have any providers who question that, make sure you send them our direction, because that is absolutely correct information. Your medical runs July 1 to June 30th. Your dental, just because we have to be confusing, your dental does run traditionally from January to December. So dental resets and runs along the calendar year. Your vision benefits are a 365-day benefit, so it goes date of service to date of service. So if you went to the eye doctor today, then you wouldn't be able to go back to the eye doctor for your next vision exam until a year from now. And they really do say that. I had some people that have tried to go 3 days within, so 362 days in, and they wouldn't do it. So make sure you wait for a year to elapse before you seek those services again on your vision. Under enrollment periods, right now we are in the open enrollment period. That is the time of year that comes around every year where you have the opportunity to make any changes or no changes for any reason or no reason at all. This is your window where you can add someone to your dental, take somebody off of your vision, add to your voluntary life insurance coverage, or move around within the plan structure between the HSAs and the PPOs. This is the time of year you can do that and no questions are asked. Outside of this window, before the policy renews in July, then you would have to have a qualifying event, which you can think of as a major life event. You get married, you get divorced, you have kids, you have someone age off the plan, you have somebody who's lost insurance that you had insurance through, or you have somebody on the flip side get a job that they get new benefits. You go part-time to full-time, full-time to part-time. All of those events are called qualifying events. That opens up a new 31-day window for you to be able to make these kinds of changes to your plan outside of this open enrollment period. So if that happens to you in this next year, then you need to go contact Debbie, because that is when you have the opportunity to make changes outside of the open enrollment period. Otherwise, the choices that you make in this time frame are the ones that you have to stay with until this time rolls around next year. So the first 2 pages of your packet are highly interesting compliance notices in the fine print that we are required to give you every year as your insurance company and as the employer. So we are not going to go through all of them with a fine-tooth comb. I'm going to trust that you are able to read them in their entirety on your own time, but we do have a sign-off sheet that we'll get to at the end, just so that we know that you have received this information from us. So that's the first 2 pages of the packet, and then we will move on now to page 3. Page 3 lists the 4 plans that are available, the medical plans that are available for you all to choose from, and they are the very same as they were last year. This is the page that we're on. Although mine's in black and white. It's what? Oh, you got 2 packets, sorry. Mine's table is 1. Okay, so what page is it on yours?
It's still page 3.
It's still page 3. Okay, so page 3 is in the packet. Thank you. So you do have the traditional PPO plan, which has the $1,000 deductible, which I know there are many of us in this room that remember when deductibles were $250 and we thought that was high. But yes, I know, because I was one of them. But the PPO with the $1,000 deductible actually now is considered an anomaly, honestly. Deductibles, we don't find them that low. So as long as Tom can continue to negotiate with Anthem to include that as part of your menu of plans, we will take it. The other 3 options are the HSA 2000, the HSA 2700, and the HSA 4000. And I have seen in my files that you all had a lot of education on high deductible health plans and the health savings accounts and from Julie Kay. So I didn't plan on going into detail about how the plans work, because you've had these plans for quite some time, but I don't want to diminish that at all. So if any of you have any questions about how the plan works or what the differences are, make sure you come find me afterwards. The biggest difference really between the 2 plans is that on the traditional PPO plan, you're going to have the co-pays for the office visits, and then you're going to have the co-pays on your prescriptions. And then on the high deductible health plans, everything goes into that one pot. And of course, on the high deductible health plans, you also receive the school deposit into your health savings account if you're eligible for that. So the other item that we want to point out on your health plans is your PBO network. And we put that up here. This is no different than the network that you've been on at all. It's the very same network. It's the Anthem Blue Preferred Network. However, we just want to make sure that everyone is aware this does not cover BJC providers in St. Louis. Our Boone providers in Columbia are perfectly fine. The hospital, the providers, Columbia Orthopedic Group, the Women's Health Group, all the ones that are current providers are perfectly fine. There has been some confusion about the BJC providers in St. Louis. That BJC simply manages Boone Hospital in Columbia, but the hospital is owned by Boone County. So we do not have to have the same network rules. So BJC, if there's a BJC physician in St. Louis, they are the ones that are not on your network. Our Boone providers in Columbia are. So we just want to make sure that you all understand that, because that can be a little bit confusing. The network that you're in, though, is bordered. It stops at the borders of Missouri, and actually it stops just west, I say, kind of Highway 65. So if you go outside of the network, that is when your Anthem Travel Wraparound Network kicks in, and that's a vast network that includes Mayo, Cleveland Clinic, tons and tons of providers. But you would have to search a different network to find providers outside of the area. So if you think the Missouri River on the east and Highway 65 on the west, that's pretty much, and then down to Springfield. Sorry, it does capture the southwest area. So that's really where our network coverage is. Outside of that area, you do switch to the travel network. And I can help you with that if you need to find a provider if you're traveling outside of this area. We do like to point out for you that there is a telehealth option available. It's called Live Health Online. And that's another one that's kind of like Brian's benefit, that if you download the app ahead of time, even though probably nobody will, because you don't think about it until you need it, it's one of those things, if you go ahead and download